Most customers will come via inbound leads, not outreach. So if you're running an AI agency, you need to double down on the fifth stage of the buyer's journey. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down the entire sales process, okay? I'm aware you're wondering, why should I be listening to this guy right now? So I'm going to tell you a bit about myself so that you know that I'm not speaking out of my ass. For over a year now, I've been running an SMMA agency and a dropshipping store, which are things that are really sales intensive. So I think that I know a tidbit about sales. And also the information that I'm going to be teaching you today is information that I have read from books, I've gotten from experience, and from thousands of dollars spent in courses. I'm making these videos so that you don't have to spend the same amount of money that I did in order to acquire this information. So the first thing we're going to cover is the buyer's journey. So the buyer's journey is 5 steps. The first one is awareness, then consideration, intent. The fourth step is purchase, where they actually buy your product. And then the fifth step is now promotion. Okay, so what's going on in awareness is when someone sees or initially discovers your business. This could be from a Facebook ad, from your Instagram, or from your YouTube channel. They see some of your content. During the consideration stage, this is when they're engaging with your content and they're considering, does this guy have value for me? The best way to go about it is to offer free value up front, because people are trying to figure out, what value does this guy bring me? If you give them free value up front, they're now going to be wondering, what about his paid stuff? How much value does that have? And then you're going to move on to the third part, which is intent. This is when the guys or the girls are now interacting with your content. For example, they're now on your website and they're going through your website and DMing you or messaging you or even booking a call with you to move on to a sales call. And this is when you actually now begin to and try and sell them on something. For example, the best way to do this, you would then create maybe a free webinar where at the end of that webinar, you're going to try and then sell them your service after you've already given them free value. And then the fourth stage, which is a purchasing stage. Initially, most businesses think that this is the last step, like after selling the thing, it's done. But this is just a bridge for the fifth step, which is promotion. Now, promotion is when the person buys your product and then they're so satisfied with your product that they go and refer people to you. And essentially, you're getting free advertising. This is when you get all the inbound leads. This is where you make actually a lot of money. After the purchase, it's really important for you to under-promise and then over-deliver to the customer. This then convinces them to then want to promote your service and recommend them to more people because they'll be really, really satisfied with your service. I'll give you an example of a company that does this well. Apple. They don't really sell iPhones. What they do is they give you the under-promise. For example, when you try to buy an iPhone, they're going to tell you that it's going to take 3 to 6 weeks to get the iPhone. And then when you order, you're expecting it to come in 6 weeks. And then instead, the phone arrives in 2 weeks. And you're going to be really ecstatic and satisfied. But then this is all artificial. Apple already knows the phone's going to come in 2 weeks. So they under-promise until it's going to come in 6 weeks. And then when it comes in 2 weeks, like, oh, wow, it's a really great customer service. You're going to start recommending, you're going to start liking the phone. It's about the experience, not the product. It's not only about the product, it's about the experience your customers get. And that's why Apple's amassed such a big company with a $3 trillion evaluation. This is a really good method that works. That's why Apple have managed to succeed. And you should be also using this in your business as part of your sales process. You need to be continuously analyzing the fifth stage. And then you make a plan and improve your strategy to getting more promoters, because this is a free money. These are free leads, free business. You can get more money this way, especially in the AI agency space. Most customers will come via inbound leads, not outreach. So if you're running an AI agency, you need to double down on the fifth stage of the buyer's journey. Now, the first step of your sales process is going to be prospecting, or you can call it lead gen. So the first thing you're going to want is to identify or create a customer persona. This is your customer avatar. So what you're going to want to do is find out, who are they? Where do they live? What's their income bracket? Where do they work? And what's their relationship status? You want to have as much information as you have about them. You can also look at your existing customers and your existing leads, and then look for different data points that connect them together, that link them up together, and then create a customer avatar of them. After figuring out who your customers are, you need to now know where to find them. Where do they like to interact on social media? Are they on Facebook? Are they on Discord? Or are they on YouTube? After identifying this, you need to then get in between their conversations, join their conversations, set yourself up as an authority. Start posting on these platforms where they are so that you can get them on the first stage of the buyer's journey, which is awareness. Bonus tips. So you want to lead with value. Okay, so you want to be going into Facebook groups, Reddit groups, whichever platform that you choose. And then you're going to be going in there and setting yourself up as an authority by teaching people in your space how to do particular things, giving tips and advice, and you become an authority. You're going to be wanting to do this so that you can get people from the awareness stage to the consideration stage, moving them down your funnel. And then what you're going to want to do is, after these guys are actually now interested, while they're cold leads, while they're interested in your business, while they've already reached the awareness stage, you're going to want to outreach to them, to actually do outbound, to engage with them. So the first thing that you're going to be doing, you can either be doing cold calling, right? Cold calling is really effective because it's hyper personalized and they actually know they're talking to a real human being and not just another automation. One way is via email, but email shouldn't be your primary means because a lot of people already used to being sold on email. So a lot of people really don't interact with salesy stuff. You need to really convince them to actually then get them to listen to your message and view your stuff. However, it's still effective. It's one of those methods that you can do, but it's not something that needs to be like your main or your most dependent method of doing outbound because it's not the most effective. Cold calling, that's going to be really, really effective because they really want to be engaged. They want something that's hyper personalized to them and not just another copy paste template. You understand? When you're cold calling, they're actually talking to someone and engaging. It actually feels like a one-on-one, like a personal thing, as opposed to a mass email that's generic email that's sent to every other customer. So what you're going to want to do is really personalize the outreach. You want to find out more about your leads and get them warmed up for you to then push them through further down the funnel. You don't just want to sell them at the start. Like for example, with your free webinar, after giving them free value, at the end you try and sell them something. Not something that's too expensive. You can start off with a low ticket offer. After selling them on that's when you now try and upsell them on something more expensive. You start free, then you go low ticket, and then after the low ticket offer, you now do the main offer or the high ticket offer, whichever works for you. Try and analyze your data and see which one has better close rates. We're gonna get on to actually closing the deal. Like after you've got them on the call, there's something called the yes psychology, right? This is the yes theory. Basically, the more number of times you get someone to say yes to different offers, eventually when you pitch them now, when you tell them this is our price, the more likely to say yes. For example, you ask them, do you think that I have the skills to get you where you want to be? And then if they say yes, that's the first yes. You can also tell them that I know where you want to be. This is where you are, and this is where you want to be. Is that correct? And they're probably going to say yes. And you want to get them to say yes to as many things as possible throughout the call. So that at the end, when you finally tell them, this is our price, they're just going to say yes. It needs to be a no-brainer offer. Then another important thing on that, do not justify your price. Whenever you say, okay, so our price is $1,000, then shut up. Don't say anything after that. Because when you start saying, our price is $1,000 because I'm really going to work hard for you and I'm really, really going to do a lot of stuff for you and try and make you better and we're going to do a lot. When you start justifying yourself, you already disqualify yourself. You already lose whatever trust you had with the customer. Because the customer is now wondering, why is he justifying himself now? What's going on? Is he trying to, they will now be really skeptical of you. They'll be wondering, why is he justifying himself? Does he not have conviction in himself? Is his service good or is there something wrong with it? So after you say your price, you just need to be quiet. Even if it takes a minute for them to respond, just say, my price is $1,000, full stop. Then you just stone cold. Don't say anything. You just wait for them to then respond. And then when they start speaking, you shouldn't justify your price. Never justify your price. Now, on the note of the sales call, when it comes to objections, you don't want to start panicking, because when you start panicking, you start losing and you start justifying yourself and then you lose the client. Okay. So you don't want to panic and you don't want to justify your price. What you want to do is, if you're afraid of failure, what you want to do is write down every potential outcome. Write down everything that can happen during the sales call. Okay, write down all the potential objections that may have, that your mind can think of, and then write an answer next to it. And then also over time, this comes with experience, and the more number of customers you talk to, every time someone objects, when they give you an objection, I want you to write it down, okay? And then pause, and then think. Don't start then using hedges, like maybe words like that. That will now disqualify you. That will increase distrust, okay? Then you're gonna pause, and then you're gonna figure out what you're gonna say. Then you're gonna write it down, and then after the call, you're gonna start writing down all of the potential new objectives you have figured out. Right after the call, you're gonna write down all of the objections that they had, all of the answers that you have, and from that information, from those data points, I'm pretty sure you can think of more objections that more customers may have in the future. And then you start writing those down. And in the future, objection handling gets easy for you. You can't fail. You cannot overcome the objections when you have a list of 200 potential objections that they may have and that other customers have had in the past. And that's how you sell. When it comes to cold calling, you want to be really passionate about what you're talking about, because no one wants to feel like the other guy, like the 1000th person you've called this week. They want to feel like you're the first and only person you're talking to. Now, of course, you can read from a script, but you need to make sure that you don't sound really robotic. You need to make sure that you feel really human and like you are just another person on the phone trying to provide value to the customer. So that will be your main priority. And then also you may need to qualify your leads. Let's say if you're selling a higher ticket offer over $1,000, right? If it's over $1,000, you may need to first do like 2 calls, like a 2-step process, where you first qualify the leads. You may need to ask what their income is during the first call. And then after qualifying the leads or disqualifying the leads, if they can't afford your service, you then move on to the next call. That's where you then sell them on the actual offer after the leads are qualified. The last and final pillar, which is service delivery. Now, when it comes to service delivery, I already said this before, but you need to under-promise and over-deliver. Now, I'm going to explain it a bit in more depth so that it actually makes sense for you. In the example that I gave of Apple, how they deliberately under-promise you so that they can over-promise, you understand? But when you're doing this, you don't want to under-promise to a certain extent where your offer then doesn't become attractive. You want to still keep it attractive, but you want to find places, wherever industry you are in, where you can under-promise, right? But you have to find a place where you can over-deliver so that your customers will be really satisfied. What this then allows for is for your customers to then do a promotion for you. You understand? Stage 5, self-promotion. You want your customers to be promoting you on your behalf so that you can get more leads. Because the number one way you make more money is by selling the same thing to the same people over and over again. Understand? You need to increase the lifetime value of your customer. Instead of only making $60 from the one thing they bought, you can make $60 and then you sell them something else again that's a bit more expensive, like $200. Then they'll come and buy another thing for like $500. Then eventually they'll end up at a point where they built up a relationship with you and enough trust where they can even give you $10,000 for your service because they know what you do, because you always over deliver. Now, what you never want to do is to over promise and then under deliver, because this is just gonna ruin your brand. This is gonna put all a bad image out there for you. You're essentially killing your business. You shouldn't just be trying to just sell them once and get rid of them. No. You need to build a relationship and increase the lifetime value of every single customer. So that's the entire sales process, okay? So we had lead gen, qualifying your leads, closing them, and then delivering. That's the entire sales process, guys. Okay, thank you for watching the video. And if you want to see more of my content, please consider subscribing, because I'm going to be making more videos. This video is part of a series. And if you're into AI automation, this is the channel for you. This is what we do. I'm going to be making tutorials in the future.